Yandasya Chakshuvanmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Supadantikam Andeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sagitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namavo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shri Mate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha Vande Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahoditau Gaudodiye Pushpavantau Chitrau Shamdau Tamonadau Ajanulambita Pujo Kanakavadhatau Sankirtanai Kapitarau Kamalayatakshav Vishwambarau Dujavarau Yugadharma Palo Vande Jagat Priyakaro Karunavatarau Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Because today was Nityananda Rishi, I thought I'll speak something on Lord Nityananda today, and then go for the topic the next class, the other topic.
Sure, Prince.
Vande Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Saha Uditau. Here the prayer is, I offer my obeisances at the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda as well as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who are like sun and moon risen together in the eastern horizon. Vande Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahoditau. Generally, you don't find sun and moon together. You always find either the sun, or when the sun sets, then you see the rising of the moon. And sun is hot and moon is cool. And also sun, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is compared to sun because he is, therefore Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Nityananda Prabhu that I am a sannyasi, I am a dvija, and I am preaching to the many of the elite class of people like Sarvabhattacharya, Ramananda, Sarvabhattacharya and Prakashananda Saraswati, Rup Sanatan, and Ramananda, such kinds of very big people, highly scholarly people, and people holding big positions. Whereas you, Nityananda, you are capable of preaching even to drunkards, even to people who are of lower class. The masses, you are capable of bringing them to Krishna's lotus feet, which you only can do. The word dushkara is used. He said, for me it is difficult, but only you can do that. He said, I was lifting a chakra to cut off the head of Madai, seeing his misbehavior towards you, but you awarded him love of God. Therefore, you are a better preacher than me. Like that, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Nityananda, you are a love awarding preacher, I am a head cutting preacher. Like that he said. But Nityananda said, my dear Lord, the body and life are inseparable. And when the life goes out of the body, then the body has no value. Similarly, I am like the body and you are like my pran. So as long as you are there in my heart, I can preach. But your mercy is not there. I am as good as a lifeless body. Like that Lord Nityananda said. So in this way, the sun and moon have risen together. Vande Sri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahoditau Gaudodiye Pushpavanto, Chitra Ushandotamanada. Actually, these two personalities bring about peace, bliss, boundless bliss in the heart of all the living beings. And wherever anyone connects with these two persons, that's why Prabhupada told Dhananjay Prabhu, one of his disciples, that you should make these Gaurnita idols and transport them all over the world and let people worship them. So some devotees asked Prabhupada, but what if people don't know who they are? Prabhupada said, that's not a problem. They will know who the people are. Prabhupada said. You can get a Gaurnita and keep at home, and people may not even know their names, but Gaurnita will watch them and they will chant, they will shower their glance of mercy upon the people and make them devotees, and which is true actually. And like in Western world, sometimes you hear devotees distributing the whole sets of Chaitanya Charitamrita to a newcomer. And you may say, what is this? How can a newcomer understand this book? Such a, spiritual literature. You should give them something very basic, something like self-help book kind of thing. Then only they will understand. That is how, that depends on the conviction of the preacher. If a preacher is not convinced, he may think we have to just only give something very light. But you find in Govardhanaka village, 28 days there is a yoga teacher's training course, 28 days. And all those evenings, all the people from different parts of the world come for taking that yoga course to become a yoga teacher. Every evening is always Radheshyam Maharaj gives one pastime of Krishna from Krishna book. He speaks Agasur, Bakasur, Keshi, all these different demons, every day one demon. And he narrates the pastimes. And they're totally newcomers. So you may wonder, how can a newcomer understand Krishna's pastime directly? Of course, Prabhupada also wrote Krishna book with purports in between to make it understandable. At the same time, the goal of life is not anartha-nivritti. The goal of life is artha-pravritti. Not just getting rid of anarthas, but also to be able to relish the transcendental bliss. And in this way, you will find Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, they praise each other and appreciate each other's preaching. So Lord Nityananda, originally as Lord Balarama, in the spiritual world, wears a bluish dhoti and he is white in color. Prabhupada says the only difference between Krishna and Balaram is the color of their body. That's all Prabhupada says. The Krishna is Shyamala Varna and Balaram is Shweta Varna. That's all. That's the only difference. You may say, really? Is Balaram also God? Yes. Balaram is the direct expansion of God, Krishna. But he does not adopt the mood of God. He adopts the mood of a servant. He behaves like a servant. Just like Shiva is an expansion of Lord also, but he acts as a servant of the Lord. And why he acts as a servant? Because he wants to teach all the living beings how to act in the mood of a servant. And when he becomes servant, he is not ordinary servant, he is the best servant. The word Shesha, Sheshanag, we say, no? The word Shesha means any service that is undone or remaining, he only will do it. Like we have seen in our temple, whenever there's a festival, all day people crowd the temple, and generally there is a competition for the prime time services. Like for example, kirtans, when the crowd of the people will be peak, there is also competition at the peak. Who will sing at the time? The time. Many people say, so sometimes we may give a few minutes to different singers. Similarly, people ask, who is giving the festival lecture? So something that puts a crown on people's head, people are very eager for such services, generally speaking, in a neophyte stage, conscious stage. But Shesh means those people, in the night you find a festival is over, feast is over, and crowd is slowly dissipating, moving, and temple is being empty now. People are all moving out to the temple campus. At the time, you will find there are still a lot of services pending. You will find it's called wind up, we call it. And the winding up takes a couple of hours. People have created so much mess now. The prasadam hall has to be washed, cleaned. The vessels have to be washed and everything. So there are a few people who will come and do that backup service. You've seen that? The last winding up service. That requires a lot of patience and a lot of tolerance, because you have to clear the mess, and it is late at night, everybody is tired, you don't have enough manpower, and still there are people who will say that I will come forward, I will do it. There are some people born for that, that type of service. So Shesh means Lord Shesha is ready to do any service, whichever has not been done by any other devotee, supposed to be done, not yet done, and whatever is left, he is always available for that, and he is available to complete the services without leaving anything undone. Yeah. And Lord Nityananda, it's a direct expansion of Nityananda, Balaram, we call him. So he is not different from Balarama. In fact, he is the Mula Sankarshana. Mula Sankarshan, if you see, Krishna expands as Balaram, Balaram expands as Mula Sankarshan. And Mula Sankarshan is one of the quadruple expansions, Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. When the Mula Sankarshan comes Narayana, from Narayana comes the second Sankarshan called as Maha Sankarshan. He also is accompanied by the other three, Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. So the second Sankarshan is called the Maha Sankarshan. And from Maha Sankarshan comes Mahavishnu and also Mahamaya. You will find in the material world. Therefore, we call her as a Vishnu Maya, we call her. So you will find that Mahavishnu, he creates millions of universes. Therefore, he is called by the name Kala in the Brahma Samhita. Kala means Amshamsha. He is not directly the Amsha, he is Amshamsha. Tasya Nishvasita Kala Mathavalambya Jivanti Loma Vilja Jagadandanataha Vishnur Mahanta Yakhayasya Kala Vishesho. See, the word Kala is used. So if Amshamsha of Krishna can be so powerful, you can imagine a direct Amsh of Krishna is Nityananda or Balaram, how powerful they must be. So how does he appear in this world? How does he perform pastimes? And what are his qualities? By contemplating on these things, our affection for Balaram and our affection for the Lord can be enhanced. You see, Balaram is 12 years older than, Nityananda Prabhu is 12 years older than Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which means he appeared first. And after 12 years later, Lord Chaitanya appears, Nimai appears. So when he appeared in the village of Ekachakra Gram, his mother Padmavati and father Hadai Pandit, he was a pure Brahman, pure Vaishnava. Otherwise, Lord doesn't appear in the homes of anybody. Even if one is a pure Brahman but not a Vaishnava, Lord will not appear in their home. One has to be a Vaishnava, pure Vaishnava devotee. And Lord actually, just like we find in the 5th canto, 3rd chapter, it is said, when Nabi and Meru Devi, they worshipped the Lord Vishnu with the desire to have Lord as their child. Lord, actually, when they performed a yajna and request, and then the priests made a request to the Lord that we are very ashamed to tell you that for the sake of getting a putra bhagya, the king has performed a sacrifice for you, and you also have graciously appeared in front of us. But we feel at the same time shy to ask you for such material benedictions, because you give so many spiritual benedictions and you are asking for some petty material benedictions. So we are very low-minded, they said. Lord smiled and said, actually, Nabi and Meru Devi, they are my pure devotees. They want a child like me, but there is nobody like me, so I will only become their child. The Lord said, I am happy to become their child. So Lord actually loves to become a child in the home of his pure devotees, and so that he can experience their love and they can experience his love. And by that exchange, both can delight. And the result is the whole world delights in it, because Subsequently, when we read the literatures, Vedic literatures, by seeing the love of the Lord and the pure devotees, our hearts become flooded with love, and all the anarthas are driven out by that. So, when Nitai appeared as a small, beautiful baby, he became the apple of the eye of everybody when Ekachakradam. See, the beauty of the Lord is wherever he appears, whatever he does best. Prabhupada says when he becomes Matsyavatara, he was the hero fish for all the fishes in the ocean. Because all the fishes were pointing finger to Matsyavatara, saying that, hey, he looks golden color. Looks how big he looks. Hey, look at his eyes. He has lotus petal-like eyes. How charming he is. So he became natural hero amongst all the... And he also preached to the fishes, Prabhupada says. In whichever incarnation Lord comes, he preaches. Like the Matsyavatara preaches to the fishes, and Varahavatara preaches to all the boars. So Prabhupada says the preaching happens not only in human society, it happens in other societies as well. Because I read in Bhagavatam, I was surprised, what is this preaching in other societies? Later on I came to know that two things the Lord does in every incarnation. One is he preaches, another one is he's playful. He does both. His playfulness is called Leela, and his preaching is called Upadesha. So there's Krishna Upadesh and Krishna Leela, both. You find. So Leela is also preaching, because by his Leela he charms the hearts, and by his preaching he clears the doubts. By both these ways he brings all living entities to his lotus feet by that. So Prabhupada writes that when he is a fish, he is such a playful fish that all fishes fall in love with him. Similarly, when he is any incarnation he comes. Similarly, when he comes in a human-like form, like Krishna or Balarama or Gaura or Nitai, then they charm all humans. And they act like the best of men. Therefore, we say, Ajanulambita pujo kanakavadhatau sankirtanaika pitaro kamala yatakshau Vishwambharau dvijavarau yugadharma palau vande jagat priyakaro karunavataro. Such a beautiful prayer it is. The Krishna Balarama are coming as Gaur Nitai. They are Karunavataro. They are merciful avatar. And Vijavaro, they act as the best of the Brahmanas, the purest of the pure Brahmans. They act like that. And not only that, their body is golden, Kanakavadatu. And who are they? Sankirtanaika Pitarau. They come as the fathers of the Sankirtan movement. They spread the Harinam Sankirtanam profusely in all directions, charming the hearts of all the living entities in the age of kaliyuga. And Vishwambaro, they are maintainers of the whole creation, because by the Harinam Sankirtan movement, they nourish the living entities. And this is the way they maintain the whole universe in full-blown Krishna consciousness. And Vishwambaro, Dvijavaro, Yugadharma Palav. They not only are Yuga avatars, but they also practice Yuga Dharma and they propagate Yuga Dharma. Vande Jagat Priyakaro Haruna Avataro. They are very dear to the hearts of all living beings. And Karuna Avataro, very, very merciful incarnations in this age of Kali Yuga. In every Yuga, we should worship the Yuga Avatars, Yuga Avatar. By worshipping the Yuga Avatar, we derive immense benefit in practicing the Yuga Dharma prescribed for that particular age, which is Harinama Sankirtana for this age. So when you go on Harinama Sankirtana in the street, we should always remember this fact that Gaunitaya are actually leading us. Just like a train, it has got an engine leading the whole train. Similarly, when you go on Harinama Sankirtan, invisibly, Gaunitaya are actually dancing in the front of the devotees. And then devotees are following them behind. They are the engine or the vehicle for the devotees' enthusiasm. They are actually flooding the hearts of the devotees with enthusiasm and pulling the devotees forward in doing Harinam Sankirtan. And also, why are they propagating the Harinam Sankirtan? They know when you are singing and dancing the Harinam Sankirtan, the birds that fly in the sky, animals that are roaming in the street, even the mosquitoes, even the trees, and what to speak of human beings. Everybody is immensely benefited by the Harinam. when the Harinam enters their ears and enters their hearts, they get cleansed. So in the Chaitanya Charitamrita it is said, Harinam Sankirtan should be performed to increase the piety of the living entities who are atheistic and who are vicious and who are always absorbed in sinful activities. If you want to make them pious, propagate Harinam Sankirtana. Wherever you, like we are going in Pune every morning between 7 to 7:30, Harinam Sankirtan, half an hour we do in the morning. Actually, I used to do in the evening. Now I moved it to morning because Udilo Aruna Puraba Bhagya. Udilo means in the morning time, and Puraba Bhagya means the eastern horizon. So after I felt, when I heard this song, I felt we should do it in the morning. So we go in the morning. So many people going in the vehicles, they wave their hand. Many people in the signals, they stop their vehicle and clap their hands. That's how their piety is increased. So in this way, the Chaitanya Charitamrita Kaviraj Goswami says that if you increase the piety of the living entities, then they will extend their arms and accept the prasadam without hesitation. After they eat the prasad, then they will want to purchase a book. And once they purchase a book, they will want to open and read it. Once they read it, the doubts will get clear and their attraction to the Lord will be awakened. And this is how people make progress. So therefore, these two personalities come to distribute the Harinam Sankirtana. So when Nityananda, like this as a small, beautiful, glowing baby appeared in Ekachakra, he became the apple of eye of everybody in Ekachakra. You see, Ekachakra Dham is called as Radhadesh. Radhadesh actually means like a deserted land. Somebody may ask, is it not inauspicious that Lord appears in a deserted land? Why should he not appear in a lushy green land where there is Ganga flowing, where there are flowers are blooming and fruits are ripening and grains are growing and land is a lushy green land or some holy land? Because we generally expect that this great personalities appear in a very special holy spot. People say, my son appeared on Ekadashi day, people say, or my grandfather passed away on a Janmashtami day, or whatever. People say like that. But why did the Lord then appear in a Radhadesh, in a dry land? The explanation is going to be Vrindavan Das Thakur. He says that Lord appears purposefully in such lands to make those lands holy, make those lands auspicious. So you will find in Bangladesh, many pure Vaishnava devotees appeared. And later on, many of them would come to Navadvip and then to Jagannath Puri also. But Bangladesh has a profuse 80%, we can say 70-80% of Vaishnavas appeared in Bangladesh. And then in Navadvip Dham, only few appeared. So, and also you will hear many of the intimate associates of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu have never put their foot in Vrindavan. We go to Vrindavan Yatra every alternate years. But many of the Lord Chaitanya's personal associates, they have never put their foot in Vrindavan because they carried Vrindavan in their hearts wherever they went. They lived in Vrindavan consciousness and they propagated Vrindavan consciousness. Similarly, when you were born in Bangladesh, in dry land, but they became pure devotees and rendered those lands prosperous and holy. Now Ekachakra Dham, whole world is visiting Ekachakra Dham now. When they go to Mayapur, they also go to Ekachakra also. So Lord Nityananda appears there. And right from childhood, when he would be playing, the elders in Ekachakra were very taken by surprise because Nitya would guide all his friends to do dramas. And he was too small to read any book. He had never read Ramayana, he had never read Mahabharata, he had never read the scriptures. He's a small kid, but he would call all the friends and perform various Krishna Leela and Ram Leela. He would perform. And sometimes he and his friends would become like Hanuman and other Vanaras, going in search of Sita. Sometimes he would tell his friends, one day he had told his friends that we would perform a particular Leela from Ramayana, from Ram Leela. So Nitai became Lakshman, and Lakshman was defeated by Ravana by a Shakti Bana. sent. And immediately Lakshman had fallen. Lakshman means Nitai had fallen to the ground unconscious. Then all the boys were shaking him, waking him, sprinkling water. He was not getting up. Then they called the parents, Hare Pandit and Padmavati. Then they came. Then all the other people of Yakachakra assembled there. And everyone started weeping loudly. What happened to Nitai? There are no life symptoms. There is no breathing from his nose. While everybody was loudly crying. At the time, one boy said, "Wait a minute, don't cry. He had told me one thing to do, which I forgot to do. I am the Hanuman. I am supposed to go and bring the Mandara. I am supposed to go and bring that mountain for the Sanjeevani mountain. I'll just bring in a minute." So he ran and he of course, he's supposed to bring mountain. He just brought some stone. And immediately he told Nitai, "The medicine is here. I'm applying medicine on your nose. Please get up." Immediately Nitai got up. So he would perform these kind of pastimes. And all the people were wonderstruck. They were looking at each other. How is it that, such a small kid, Nitai, knows all these pastimes? So when they would ask him, "Nitai, tell us, where did you hear all this? Where did you learn this?" He would smile and say, "These are my own pastimes." He would say like that, "These are my own pastimes." So, when Lord comes in this world, he charms everybody by his pastimes, as I told you. And while everybody was filled in ocean of bliss like this, day in and day out, and people completely forgot the passing of time. People completely forgot the miseries of the material world. People completely forgot their material duties. People became absorbed in spiritual bliss, and the Ekachakradham turned into spiritual world. And life was going on ecstatically for everybody. Until one day, a traveling mendicant came to the home of Hare Pandit. Hare Pandit actually was a pure Vaishnava Brahmin. So naturally, he would want to serve saintly people. So they welcomed him into the house, fed him prasad, dealt with him in a very, very respectful way. And they asked him, "How can we serve you?" So the old sannyasi said, "Now I am traveling to far, far away places, but I am very old and I am finding my body becoming invalid. It's becoming difficult for me. I'm looking for a young boy who can be my traveling partner, who can accompany me. And I can take him to all the holy places. He will also benefit visiting all the holy places along with me. And that would be great service. And I'm seeing your young boy is very enthusiastic and very charming. And such a young boy is with me, it would be a great help for me." It was like a thunderbolt striking on the head for Hare Pandit. He became completely speechless. He went inside and told his wife, "What do we do? The sannyasi is asking like this. We should never say no to such great souls. So I'm wondering whether we should give away our son like this, and when will he come back? He's saying that they are going to go to various places, and then when will he come back? We don't know." So Padmavati was a complete submissive wife. She told her husband, "Whatever you decide is all right with me. I echo your viewpoint. If you wish to send our son away with him, I won't mind if that is your decision." So with deep sorrow in the heart, Hare Pandit handed over Nitai to the sannyasi. And Nitai had no problem. While parents were crying, Nitai was smiling. He was ready to visit all the holy places with the mendicant. And they went to many, many holy places. There's a long list of holy places given. Especially there is a mention about places like Udupi, a place like Vishnu Kanchi, there is Shiva Kanchi, Rameshwaram, Setubandha. All these different places they visit. In this way, he traveled with him in many other places, Nitai, where Pandavas had visited. In those places, Nitai would cry, remembering the pastimes that he did as Krishna Balram with the Pandavas, in different places, because he was Nityananda Prabhu. At the same time, he would go into the mood of Balaram many times. And then at last, he returned to a place called Shringaravat in Vrindavan. There is a place called Shringaravat where Krishna decorates the braids the hair of Srimati Radharani and decorates. That is a very, very confidential and very special place in Vrindavan. So he stayed there in Shringaravat, exactly in the mood of a coward boy. He was in a playful mood with the Vijayabasis, the coward boys. But he thought that I will reside in this place until Lord Chaitanya calls me for, starting the preaching mission, Sankirtan mission. We both have descended in this world for that purpose only. But right now, Nimai is performing the pastimes as a Tarkika Shiromani, as the crest jewel of arrogant arguers. He's doing arguments and performing another type of pastime. Eventually, he will take shelter of Ishwarapuri and start the Harinam Sankirtan movement. At that time, I will start. Without his order, I will not begin anything. In this way, he resided in Vrindavan in full spiritual absorption. At one point of time, as you know, Nimai Pandit, as the son of Jagannath Mishra and Sachimata in Navadvip, performed Leela as a great Pandita, erudite scholar, always surrounded by his students. And early in the morning, all the people in Navadvip would see Nimai Pandit with his long flowing hair, with his brilliant face like a full moon, eyes like lotus petals, a sacred thread passing over his body, like a best of the Brahmanas. And he would be surrounded by all his boys, looking like a moon surrounded by stars. And they would be walking in the streets of Navadvip, and many, many people would be charmed by his beautiful form. And they didn't know why they were attracted by him. Due to Yogamaya potency, they couldn't recognize that he was Krishna. They saw him as a very effulgent and intelligent and beautiful, scholarly Brahmana. And they all wished in their hearts that may he become Krishna's devotee one day. That was their prayer. They even plainly told him several times, we wish you become a Krishna devotee and you lead all of us. You become our leader and guide us how we should establish Krishna consciousness. That was the nature of Vaishnavas. So, and as time passed over a period of time, Nimai Pandit, one occasion, he came across the great soul Ishwarapuri, and he served prasadam to Ishwarapuri in his house. And he also went to the home of Gadadhar Pandit, where Ishwarapuri stayed for 7 months. Every day night, whole night, he would be speaking from a book called as Krishna Leelamritam, which he had compiled from the various scriptures. And he would continuously speak Krishna Leela, and which was actually heard by Gadadhar Pandit, and Gadadhar Pandit had invited some more Vaishnavas. And Nimai Pandit also took advantage of that association. This was unknown to me for many years. Later on, I came to know that Nimai Pandit had associated with Ishwarapuri like that. And that Ishwarapuri is not an ordinary personality. He is a disciple of Madhavendra Puri, and the most dear, beloved disciple of Madhavendra Puri. He was blessed by Madhavendra Puri that may your heart become, playful pastimes of Lord Krishna. Like that he was blessed. Because he served his Guru in the last period of his life, washing his stool and urine, sitting next to him and reading Krishna Leela, exactly understanding the mind and heart of Guru and pleasing him. Unlike Ramachandra Puri, who displeased the Guru and earned a curse. So that was Ishwarapuri. After the blessing of Guru, Ishwarapuri's spiritual advancement became million times more. He became an embodiment of Krishna. See, this is why in the path of spiritual life, more than our skills, more than our abilities and capabilities, more than our achievements, our competencies and all these things, and more than our hard work, it's called Purushakara, we call it. There are 2 words in Sanskrit, Daiva and Purushakara. Daiva actually means the empowerment and blessings. And Purushakara is about efforts, endeavors, and individual competencies and skills. That's called Purushakara. We call it. So the Daiva is like infinity, and Purushakara is like one unit. Actually, uh, we can be immensely powerful by empowerment achieved through blessings of Guru. Now, somebody may say, how does that empowerment come? Does it fall from the sky? Or it is only for the chosen few, not for everybody? Actually, in our life, we should certainly make an effort. My spiritual master often used to say, if you are practicing with your practice, devotional practice should be sincere, serious, and without any ulterior motives. He would often say that. So we do our part, and when Lord sees sincerity, actually Lord is very fond of genuine devotees. Wherever he finds genuine devotees, he is greedy to associate with them and play with them, just like he goes to Kolavacha there. And he is very naughty in dealing with Kolavacha, isn't it? And Kolavacha is saying that, see, you are arguing with me and asking the banana leaf and banana cups and everything in half the price. So instead of arguing with me, why don't you go to other shops? If you say you are getting it cheaply in other places, why don't you go and take from other shops? That time nobody will say that, I have already got a good supplier. Why should I go to other shops? You are the best supplier for me because I can argue and reduce the price. And you also keep bending. So I like a bending supplier, not adamant suppliers in other shops. So this is the Lord delights in being playful with his devotees. So I heard another pastime in Tirupati. One time when I was climbing up the hill, I found one matha there. It was written outside, Hathiram Baba Mat, like that. I was surprised. If these fellows can have a mat, why can't ISKCON have a mat? So then I asked the ISKCON temple president there, Revatiram Prabhu, why we don't have a mat there? Somebody else has made a mat. He said, oh, you don't know, there is a very famous pastime which happened 200-300 years ago. Not very old pastime, recent pastime only. He said there was one great pure devotee of Lord Rama who came to the hilltop there to take darshan of Balaji. So he was living in a hut in that for some days, for a few months, 1 or 2 months he was planning to stay there and take darshan of Balaji regularly. So Balaji was so inspired by this pure devotee, he used to come to his hut to play chess, play the shatranji with him. So when the Lord suddenly appeared in front of him, this pure devotee offered obeisances to him and was overwhelmed. And then the Lord told, I have especially come to play with you. Come, let's play this chess game. Shatranji is similar to chess kind of game. So in India, people play with the dice. You play the dice and then you move the stones like that. So the pure devotee said, my Lord, I'm sorry, I don't know this play. You are eager to play, but I don't know this play. Lord told you, you don't know to play this, you only know chanting. All the time you keep chanting my names. Okay, I will teach you how to play, the Lord said. And the Lord taught him how to play. And the Lord was playing with him. Just like Lord plays the same game with Rukmini also in Dwarka. So at the time, Lord was playing whole night with him. One of the days, it became late for the Mangalarti time, very close, only few minutes were left. So Lord immediately told the devotee, oh, I have to be on my altar. Otherwise, when they open the altar, if they don't find me, all my devotees will die on the spot. So therefore, I have to immediately appear there. So the Lord vanished from here and went there. But the Lord forgot his bracelet, the armlet they wear in the arm, no? That he had left it. While playing in the night, he had removed it and kept it, but forgot to wear it. So this pure devotee was innocent. He picked it up and was going towards the temple. And the king came to know that it is missing. That part is missing. Immediately he arranged for ministers to search out. And then the policemen saw this devotee bringing it. They caught him immediately and took him to the king. And they thought he's a thief. And the pure devotee frankly told them, my dear king, Lord was coming every day. Whole night he was playing with me. I am insignificant, but it was Lord's desire he came. King couldn't believe. He said, okay, let me give you a test. He he put him in a jail where he arranged a truckload of sugarcane and said, if you can eat the sugarcane overnight, then tomorrow morning I will relieve you from the jail, he said. So, and the pure devotee just took the weed bag and he was chanting. He thought that maybe lifelong I have to be in the jail only. No problem, wherever you are, chant the holy name, he was chanting. And that night, in the dead of the night, a transcendental elephant descended from the sky, a divine elephant. Coming down, immediately the watchman called for the king. The king came running. Actually, the elephant was so swift that in a very short time, he ate up all the sugarcane completely. And by the time the king came, that is the time the elephant had completed. He was flying back up. And the king saw this miraculous thing to his great amazement. Not only that, the elephant not only ate up all the sugarcane, it garlanded the pure devotee. And it went back up. So the king, that from that point of time on, this pure devotee of Ram, he came to be called as Hatiram Baba. So he was Ram's devotee, and the Hati in the form of Ram in the form of Hati. He came and ate away all that sugarcane and everything. So the king fell at his feet and sought forgiveness and released him immediately and gave a land for him to make a matha there. But I was telling you this because the Lord delights in playing pastimes with his devotees. That's what Nimai Pandit did. And in this way, Nimai Pandit went on and on until one time when his father, Jagannath Mishra, had passed away for his Shraddha. On the pretext of doing his Shraddha, he went to Gaya. In Gaya, he went to the Vishnupadi Mandir, where the Brahmanas were offering flowers to the lotus feet of Vishnu. There is a Vishnu lotus feet, is worshipped there in the temple. While offering the flowers, they were chanting mantras, the meaning of which was like this. These are the same lotus feet which are massaged by Goddess of Fortune Lakshmi. These are the same lotus feet which were placed on the head of Bali Maharaj. These are the same lotus feet which shattered the mountain of sinful reactions in the hearts of the Lord's devotees. These are the same lotus feet from which the Ganga is emanating and purifying all the three worlds. Like that, they were glorifying the Lord's lotus feet in various ways. So when Nimai Pandit went there, he was sitting in the temple with closed eyes, and as he heard these words of the Brahmanas, these prayers, immediately his bhav built up more and more and more. Goosebumps were occurring in his body, and tears were springing out from his eyes, hearing glories of the Supreme Lord and his lotus feet. At that time, we saw Ishwarapuri coming into the temple. Nimai Pandit got up and ran to him and fell at his feet and clasped his feet and said, "Oh, spiritual master, please accept me as your disciple." So Ishwarapuri became perplexed. How I can accept Lord Krishna as my disciple? Lord is my master. He is my teacher. How can I become his teacher? But Nimai Pandit persuaded. He said, if you really want to please me, you should become my teacher. So Lord likes to make his devotee his own teacher. Like Sandipati Muni also felt, how can I become teacher of Krishna? But Krishna ordered him, you have to become my teacher. So he agreed to become teacher. So Ishwarapuri gave him initiation. And after that, Nimai Pandit's situation was different. He became a transformed man. And just like we say, somebody is ghost haunted, he became Goloka haunted. He became so Goloka haunted. Constantly he was remembering Krishna, asking, where is my dear Krishna? Where are you, Krishna? And always his eyes were decorated with priceless tears of love for Krishna. When he came back, the whole Navadvip rejoiced. Everybody said, see, I was telling you, he will be the best devotee of Krishna. Everybody was. And people would go to pluck flowers in the morning. Behind the Shiva Sangan, there is a place where people would pluck flowers. And Vaishnavas would be talking to each other while plucking flowers. They were saying, hey, do you know Nimai Pandit has become a great devotee? He is not a great devotee, he has become the greatest devotee. He used to say that I will become such a devotee, even Shiva and Brahma will come for my association. Now he has actually become one. Come, let's go to his home and see. So all of them went to the home of Nimai Pandit to see. This is how. And then in this way, Nimai Pandit was no more doing tarka vitarka. No more he was doing Tarka Vitarka. He became such an embodiment of pure love of God. So then subsequently, he told all his students, enough of all our grammar. You wind up your books and keep it aside. Let us dance and sing. Hare Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Like that, he started singing and dancing, and all the students also joined the dancing. And that was the time Nimai Pandit decided that now let me manifest my Sankirtan pastimes in the home of Srivas. And then Shiva Sang and pastime started. Following that is the pastime of Nimai Nitai Milan, about which I was planning to speak today, but there's no time now. I have to go for Mangalarti now. You can read that. Nimai Nitai Milan is a sweet pastime in the home of Nandanacharya. Amazing pastime it is. How Nimai and Nitai look like Krishna Balram, Ram Lakshman, Jodi. The whole world rejoiced watching this beautiful sight of Nimai and Nitai dancing together. And after that, Nityananda Prabhu starts his preaching on the order of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya ordered Nitai and Haridas Thakur, both of them, to go out and preach in all the places. Nityananda says, certainly you will hear lectures on Lord Nityananda more. So let us absorb our minds and his pastimes and go one forward step in our spiritual progress of awakening Krishna Prema. Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki. So you all can repeat after me. Nityananda Namastubhyam
Nityananda Namastubhyam
Premananda Pradayine
Premananda Pradayine
Kalau Kalmashanashaya
Kalau Kalmashanashaya
Pranava Pataye Namaha.
Raghava Pataye Namaha.
I offer my obeisances at the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda, who is the awarder of Premananda. And he also destroys all the impurities in the heart of the jivas in the age of Kaliyuga. And one who is the husband of goddess Janava Devi. And let me offer my obeisances unto his lotus feet. Lord Nityananda Prabhu ki
Jai.
Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki.
Jai.
Thank you very much. I just have a few minutes to catch up for the Mangalarti. I'm just going to take my milk. If you have one question or some comment, you can make it in another 2-3 minutes.
Devotees, anyone has a question? Lord Krishna Prabhu.
Yes. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, dear Radheshyam Prabhu, for taking such time out of your very busy schedule and enlightening us. Prabhu, we hear about to get Chaitanya's mercy, we need Nityananda Prabhu's blessings.
Correct. That's true. Yeah.
So, how do we get Nityananda Prabhu's blessings? What do we need to do
By
to
getting,
get?
by getting the mercy of Advaita Acharya Prabhu.
Okay.
And then you may ask question, how to get Advaita Acharya Prabhu's mercy? So Advaita Acharya is actually Mahavishnu in the mood of Sadashiva. And Sadashiva is actually the Charachara Guru. Charachara Guru actually means the Guru of the whole universe. Loka Guru, Muninam Guru, Charachara Guru, like that in Bhagavatam says that. So therefore, by surrendering to our spiritual master, faithfully and seriously practicing spiritual life, we attract Advaita Acharya's mercy. And by that, we attract Nityananda's mercy. And then by that, we attract Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Right.
Prabhuji, can I ask one quick question?
Yeah, Prabhuji, yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, you mentioned about Nityananda Prabhu as Moola Shankarshan.
Correct, he is the Moola Sankarshan. Actually, Moola Sankarshan comes from Nityananda Prabhu.
Oh, comes from Moola. Okay.
Yeah.
So then he is equivalent to Balaramji.
Yeah, correct.
He is not expansion of Balaramji.
Sometimes in the scriptures you will find when they are talking about Sankarshan, they will say, he's Balaram, they will say, Sankarshan Balaram, they will say. That's not a mistake because they are Advaitam, they are non-different. Expansions are coming from the Lord only. Yeah. So I could only speak a little bit about the childhood pastime of Nimai, and now there are other things we can read about and learn today, which is Nitai's pastimes in Navadvip, Nitai's pastimes in Jagannath Puri with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nitai delivering many challenging audiences, like if you see those thieves in the home of Hiranya Pandit, dacoits, or Nitai delivering Jagai Madai, and Nitai occupying the heart of Gadadhar Das and delivering Kazi, So all these are very special pastimes of Nitai's preaching. And also Nitai's preaching in general. Pati ghare ghare giya koro yehi bhiksha, bolo Krishna bhajo Krishna karo Krishna shiksha. He said, Adhama patita jive dware dware giya, Hari nama maha mantra deno bilajiya. Jare deke tare koke dante trina dhori, Amare ke niya loho bhaja gaura hari. Eta bali nityananda bhume gadi jai, Sonara parvata jeno dhula te lotai. This is Dambo's preaching. Very beautiful verse. Akrodha Paramananda Nityananda Ram. So we can meditate on these things today and derive some spiritual energy from the pastimes of Nityananda Prabhu, so that we also will increase our vigor for missionary activities and preaching on behalf of Sri Gaur Nitai and Srila Prabhupada and our spiritual masters. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.